Hi, we'll be starting with Section 9 of the CGST Act 2017. Section 9 is the charging section under GST. Now, what do you mean by the term charging section? So, a charging section would state when the tax would be levied and on whom. A charging section of any tax law is considered to be the heart of the legislation, heart of the tax law. Let's see the charging section in detail. The charging section, that's section 9, actually has 5 subsections. All the 5 subsections we would be doing today. The first subsection states that the CGST Act is levied whenever there is an intrastate supply of goods and services. So whenever there is an intrastate supply, that is a sale within the state, that time CGST Act will be levied. Now can you tell me, is CGST Act levied on petroleum products till date? Answer is no. It is kept outside the ambit of GST, and in section 9 subsection 2 it states that GST on petroleum products would be levied whenever the GST council will notify for the same. So as of now, GST on petroleum is out of the purview of GST, and it would be notified from when it would be brought under the GST legislation. 9 subsection 3 and 9 subsection 4 talks about reverse charge mechanism. We will see what is RCM, that is reverse charge mechanism, when we come to it. And the 5th subsection, super important, it talks about e-commerce operators. Now when I say e-commerce operators, means what? So e-commerce operators could be your Flipkart, Amazon, your Urban Clap, it could be your Uber, Ola, wherever you make a online booking. Book My Show, these are all e-commerce operators. So how is the GST going to be impacted, and what is the provision with respect to e-commerce operators is covered under section 9 subsection 5, which we will see in detail. Now let's go subsection wise, each subsection at a time. Now section 9 subsection 1 talks about the levy and collection of CGST. So when is CGST levied? Can you all tell me, when is CGST tax levied? Is it on interstate transactions or an intrastate transaction? So answer is CGST tax will be levied on all intrastate supplies of goods and services. So whenever there is a sale within the state, let's say if the supplier is also from Maharashtra and the recipient are both from Maharashtra only, okay, then it's considered to be an intrastate supply, and then on intrastate supply CGST is levied. Okay, both are from Maharashtra, so it is a sale within the state. Second, they are going on to say except on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So your CGST Act will not be levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So let's say you go to a restaurant, or I could say a bar, and you order or someone goes in an alcoholic bar and orders a breezer, maybe a kind of a drink. When he orders it, the bill would come, that invoice. On that invoice, you will notice there is no CGST or GST at all levied on it. Why is that? Because alcohol is kept outside the ambit of GST, and on alcohol still VAT and excise duty, the previous tax laws, will be applicable. On the value determined under section 15, so what will be the value will be determined under section 15, which we will see. And on such rates not exceeding 28% as may be notified by the government. So what is the maximum rate of CGST that can be levied? It is 28% government has told you. So we know the maximum GST that can be levied is 28%. And the government will notify within that 28% which all rates will apply. So on certain goods you have 4%, some goods you have 12%, some goods you have 18%, and very few goods you will have 28%. Now tell me one thing, when would the government levy 28% GST? So generally these are levied on two kinds of goods. Either these are demerit goods like tobacco, something which the government does not really encourage, pan masala, or demerit goods could be either all these goods or luxury goods. Luxury good could a sports car could be levied at this 28% GST. Okay. On the recommendation of the council in such manner as may be prescribed. So the manner of collection will be prescribed by the GST council and it shall be paid by the taxable person. So here they are telling you when the GST will be levied, when, and it would be collected by whom, it would be paid, and payable by whom, it will be payable by the taxable person. So here the taxable person could be the supplier. So the person selling the goods, selling the service will be liable to pay this to the government. So they can collect it from you and then give it to the government. So as we know, we go to any restaurant, it is the consumer ending up paying the tax, but it is collected by the dealer, the suppliers, and then the suppliers pay it to the government. So who is actually going to the government and paying? It is the taxable person, it is McDonald's, it is those business owners who is liable to go and pay to the government. So are we clear with section 9 subsection 1? It talks CGST Act is levied on intrastate supplies, not alcoholic liquor, outside the ambit. Value will be given under section 15. Rate will be applied on what rate? For example, let's say you went, someone went and bought a laptop. Okay, the laptop they bought it for 50,000. So the value, how to calculate the value is given under section 15. And what rate will be applied? You will have to see the list. The rate will be given in your tariff table. So there is a tariff issued which we will see later on, where you go and see that this product number is liable to GST at 18%. So then you will see that 18% rate is applied here. What is the maximum rate the GST can be levied? It is 28%. Moving forward, 9 subsection 2. Now 9 subsection 2 says about petroleum products. It would come in the ambit of GST when the GST council notifies, because since it's a complex product, the government wants to bring it under the GST purview after consensus and after getting more rules and insights into it. So GST on supply of petroleum, diesel, motor spirit, that's petrol, natural gas, urban aviation turbine fuel. So all of this fuel, petroleum and petroleum products, GST will be applied when? It will be levied with effect from such date as may be notified by the GST council. Okay, so GST council will notify when petroleum products would come under the ambit of GST. Currently, petroleum products are not within the ambit of GST. Here, the old regime is only applying, that is excise and VAT. Now we come to two important subsections, 9 subsection 3 and 9 subsection 4. Both of them, they talk about reverse charge mechanism. Here also they talk about RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Now let's understand what do you mean by RCM first. Now GST can be collected in this fashion. Okay, let's see what it means. Now when you go, let's take an example, you went to a restaurant. Now when you went to the restaurant, you're the receiver of goods and services, right? So you are the ultimate customer. You're the consumer, customer, or I could say recipient, right? You avail the goods and services. So you go to McDonald's, you get the goods and services. Now who is giving you the supplies? So it is, let's say, the business owner. The supplier is the McDonald's. Now you think and tell me, whenever you go to the restaurant, don't you pay with the GST? So yes, you will pay, you will get the goods in return. In return, you will pay price, that is the value of the goods, and then you will also pay the GST to the dealer. This GST is collected by the supplier and then he gives that GST to the government. That's how it works. So let's say you went to buy a laptop from Croma. So you pay the value of the goods and you also pay the GST on it. And then Croma, that is a business owner, will go and then pay to the government, right? This, where the supplier is liable, it is called as forward charge. Okay, so this is called as forward charge. Forward charge means what? The supplier is liable. So this is the most common. I go to the gym, I pay whatever services I'm getting, annual contract along with the GST. So I am the recipient of service. I pay to the gym owner. The gym owner will go and pay to the government. Isn't this the common thing? Where else have you seen? You go to buy in Zara. Moment you go to buy something in Zara, you pay for the clothes along with the GST, and then Zara will pay that GST amount to government. What charge is this called? It's called as a forward charge. Here who is liable? The supplier of the goods is liable to pay the GST to the government. Simple concept. This is what normally happens. But sometimes we make the recipient liable to go and pay to the government. That when the recipient is liable to go and pay to the government, which is in very few cases, it is called as reverse charge. क्योंकि यहाँ पे कुछ उल्टा ही हो रहा है, reverse charge. In reverse charge, can you tell me who is liable? In reverse charge, it is the recipient of goods and services liable to pay GST to the government. So let's see what it is. Here what is happening, the recipient, the receiver of the goods and services receives the goods from the supplier. He pays only the price and directly he pays the GST to the government. So can you tell me, in reverse charge, what is happening? The recipient receives the goods, pays the price, but does not pay the GST amount. He pays the GST amount directly to the government. Now, why do like that? Why not in forward charge? So the government had once issued a notification. They say in certain times government can decide from whom to collect the tax, considering the circumstances, the surrounding cases, and where the government feels that it is the best interest of the revenue to protect revenue. उनको कब लगता है कि किसके ऊपर GST लायबल करना है. अगर सप्लायर के ऊपर लायबल करेंगे हम लोग तो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज फॉरवर्ड चार्ज. अगर रेसिपिएंट के ऊपर लायबल करेंगे तो वो क्या हो जाएगा, रिवर्स चार्ज मैकेनिज्म. तो नोटिफिकेशन में क्या बोला था, गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड कर सकती है कि कौन से स्टेज पे और किसके ऊपर जीएसटी की लायबिलिटी डालनी चाहिए, वेयर द गवर्नमेंट कैन कलेक्ट मैक्सिमम रेवेन्यू and where the government feels it will be more suitable to them. We will see a few cases where government has put the liability on the recipient and help the supplier, because supplier doesn't have to maintain any accounts and go to pay to the government. So if we just take a small little recap, What happens in normal or forward charge? Normally what happens? Normal charge happens, that's called as forward charge. The recipient makes the payment of the goods and services with the GST to the supplier. The supplier will deposit the GST with the government. This is called as forward or normal charge. Simple. Now what do you mean by reverse charge? Where the recipient, the person who is receiving the goods and services, makes the payment without the GST to the supplier, and the recipient deposits it with the government, the GST with the government on behalf of the supplier. तो liability जब हम लोग recipient के ऊपर रख रहे कि आप प्लीज जाके डिपॉजिट दे दो with the government, it is called as reverse charge mechanism. Now isn't it interesting to know कि यार ये रिवर्स चार्ज क्यों रखा कॉन्सेप्ट और कौन से केसेस में RCM लगता है, रेसिपिएंट को अवेलेबल करते हैं. So let's take an example where I'll give you a small little hint. Now let's say the recipient is a registered entity. It is Reliance Industries is a recipient of the goods and service, and let's say supplier is a small dealer. He's a unregistered dealer. Okay, he's a unregistered, he's not yet registered under GST. So don't you think he must be a small supplier? Whereas Reliance Industries is a registered dealer and is a big entity. Registered dealer. So they are registered under GST. So what government tells them कि यार आप बड़े इंसान हो, Reliance Industries बड़ी पार्टी है. It's a big company. It has all the systems in place. So we will tell Reliance Industries that you don't pay this supplier the GST amount. Please, he will not come and pay it to me. He's an unregistered dealer. He's a small dealer. He has no manpower. He has absolutely nothing. We not want to harass him. You are big. You pay us the GST amount directly on his behalf. Why pay him and then he comes and he pays you? So does it make sense that the dealer pays him the GST? Then many a time what happens, these people don't come and pay the GST to the government. So then the government faces loss of revenue. So they say no, please don't pay him the GST amount. You come and you pay us directly. So this is one case where government feels RCM should be applied in such transactions, where a unregistered dealer is the supplier and he is supplying the goods or services to a registered dealer. So registered dealers has the systems in place. So where the recipient is a registered dealer, in such cases we will tell the registered dealer that you please pay us the GST amount directly to the government. This is called as reverse charge mechanism. So this is considered to be reverse charge mechanism. It's actually given in your section 9, subsection 3 and subsection 4. Okay, so let's see in which subsection is this given. It's in subsection 4. So let's see. We did subsection 4 now. What does 4 say? कि बॉस अगर सप्लायर छोटा बंदा है, सप्लायर अनरजिस्टर्ड डीलर है और रेसिपिएंट अच्छी खासी बड़ी पार्टी है, रजिस्टर्ड पार्टी है, तो हम लोग रेसिपिएंट को बोलेंगे आप डायरेक्टली हमें जीएसटी पे कर दो, राइट? So taxable supply of goods and services by a unregistered dealer to a registered dealer. So the government may specify a class of transactions who in respect of supply of specified categories of goods and services pay tax to the government in RCM basis, where they receive the services from a unregistered supplier, right? So the government may by notification specify a class of registered person. So registered person who shall in respect of supply of certain categories receive from a unregistered supplier. So you're the unregistered person is a supplier and the registered person is the recipient. So who is liable to pay tax? Supplier or recipient? Who is a bigger registered person? Who has the systems in place? Who has already done the registration? So in that case, the recipient, and therefore this will tell the recipient to pay, which is considered to be RCM, reverse charge mechanism. उल्टा हो रहा है, हम लोग रेसिपिएंट को बोल रहे पे करने को. Now let's see 9 subsection 3 also says that RCM shall apply in respect of certain notified goods and services. So a separate notification will be issued with respect to goods के कौन से goods RCM में आएंगे and कौन सी type की services RCM में आएंगे. So you tell me, normally it would be under forward charge or in reverse charge? GST's liability is normally under forward charge or in reverse charge? It is in forward charge. When is it in reverse charge? So in reverse charge, when the supplier is a unregistered person and the recipient is a registered person. तो हम लोग बोलेंगे कि सप्लायर के ऊपर लायबिलिटी डाल के कोई फायदा नहीं है, रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को बोलो आके पे करने को. दैट इज वन केस विच इज गिवन अंडर सेक्शन 9 सबसेक्शन 4. इन 9 सबसेक्शन 3 दे हैव गिवन यू सर्टेन अदर classes of goods and other classes of service which would fall under RCM. So government ने क्या बोला, नोटिफिकेशन आएगा इसके रिलेटेड. Government may on recommendation of the council by notification specify categories of supply of goods or services or both, the tax on which will be paid on RCM by the recipient, and all the provisions of this act shall apply to the recipient as if he is liable to pay tax in respect of such goods and services. So all the liabilities which were normally on the supplier will fall on the recipient, right? We've seen the concept of RCM, reverse charge mechanism, where the recipient is liable to pay the GST to the government. Now section 9 subsection 3 states that the government in consultation with the GST council will issue notifications, one with respect to goods and one with respect to services, which will state which goods and services will be liable to be paid on RCM basis. That means on these goods and services the recipient will be held liable. So let's see first the notification with respect to goods which are falling under RCM. So supplies of goods under the reverse charge mechanism. In reverse charge mechanism, who is liable to pay the GST? The recipient is liable to pay GST to government. Perfect. So this is called as RCM. Now what are the description of the goods? Once you see the goods, you will come to know why this provision was actually introduced. Now here the supplier of the goods, you see mostly they are agriculturist. So agriculturist is the supplier of, agriculturist is like a farmer who is dealing in the primary sector. He is a supplier and he is selling to big companies, okay? So the recipient are registered persons and companies. So this could be possible that the goods are being supplied to companies like Reliance Fresh, Godrej Nature's Baskets, etc. So the recipients, or maybe some hotel companies, Taj, etc. So they are receiving the goods. Now when they are receiving the goods, should they pay the value of the goods along with the GST and expect the supplier to pay to the government? So then we say we don't want to put these agriculturist farmers into the registration process, and we don't want to put the liability on the supplier. What we tell them, you just pay them the value, and instead the recipient has to pay the GST to the government department. Got it? This is falling under RCM. So this goes value without GST. Don't you think it makes much more sense to make Reliance Fresh pay the GST directly to the government, Godrej Nature's Basket directly to the government? Yes, it does. So what does the notification say? One which was issued earlier for justifying RCM. तो गवर्नमेंट ने जब RCM इंट्रोड्यूस किया तो उन्होंने बोला कि हमको डिसाइड करने दो कौन सी पार्टी और कौन सी स्टेज पे GST बेटर कलेक्ट होगा, विच इज इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू. टू प्रोटेक्ट रेवेन्यू वी विल डिसाइड who should be held liable, and in common sense a registered dealer has all the systems in place, he can directly pay it to the government. So everywhere it is agriculturist is a supplier who manufactures etc. this, and these are the goods given: cashew nuts, BD, tobacco, silk, raw cotton. Okay, now there are two more which they are talking of: supply of lotteries. By whom? By the state government, and they are supplying these goods to the distributor or the selling agent who is the recipient. So lottery is actually issued by the state government. Now have you seen any lotteries issued by the state government? So there are many states, actually 15 states, which have state run lotteries, where the state runs certain lottery. They have a department of lottery. There is Goa, Kerala, West Bengal, Maharashtra, where they are supply lotteries, and these are state owned. So here the state government is there, so they are the supplier and this is the recipient. We don't want to make the state government liable to pay the GST. We tell the recipient, that is the selling agent, that all the responsibilities and compliances and collection you please do and pay to the GST department directly. Now let's see few states, state run lotteries. So Kerala is the first one to introduce state run lotteries. There's Goa, Punjab, Sikkim. They have their own lottery departments, and if you see, one of them is Playwin Lottery, one of the largest in the state is by Sikkim government. Okay, then comes any seized used vehicle, confiscated vehicles which are being sold by the government or any authority. So the vehicle is being sold and the recipient is a registered person. So we are telling the registered person, you please go and pay to the government department the GST amount. अब तुम देखो कितनी सब गाड़ियां रहती है, कॉन्फिस्केट हो जाती है और गवर्नमेंट उसको सेल करती है. तो गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर लायबिलिटी नहीं डालना है हमें. हम लोग यहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को ही बोल रहे हैं, आप जो गाड़ी का वैल्यू है आप इधर दे देना, और जो GST अमाउंट है वो गाड़ी के ऊपर वो आप सीधा GST डिपार्टमेंट में दे देना. तो गवर्नमेंट्स के अंदर भी अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, तो इट मैटर्स तुम कौन से डिपार्टमेंट में दे रहे हो, तुम जाके GST डिपार्टमेंट में दे दोगे. सो समटाइम्स कितने लोगों की गाड़ी सीज हो जाती है, कॉन्फिस्केट हो जाते हैं, एयरपोर्ट पे कितने गुड्स कॉन्फिस्केट हो जाते हैं, एक्सेट्रा. सो ऑल दोज गुड्स एंड व्हीकल्स विच हैव बीन सीज्ड will be sold by the government. So they become the supplier and the person becomes the recipient. The recipient is required to go and pay the GST directly to the GST department. So these are with respect to the goods. Now we'll see supply of services, few services which can come under the RCM mechanism. Now I've given you a few of them. Once you understand this, you will be able to understand the others as well. So as we saw in section 9 subsection 3, it is stated that they will notify certain goods and services which will fall under RCM. and the notification number for services is notification number 13 2017. अब यहाँ पे देखते हैं और लॉजिक भी देखेंगे, उसका लॉजिक भी तुमको समझ में आएगा. Now when the supplier of services is a goods transport agency GTA and the recipient of service is a registered entity, so who is liable to pay GST? The recipient. Okay, here always the recipient is liable to pay GST to government. This is falling under RCM. अब गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी का एक एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं. नाउ यहां पे एक तुम्हारा सोचो, एक गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी है, तो यहाँ पे वो ड्राइवर है, उसने अपनी ट्रक खरीदी है और वो काफ़ी सारी कंपनीज को, रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन्स को ये सर्विस देता है. सो लेट्स से दिस इज अ रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, कुड बी लेट्स से रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज. सो इट्स अ रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. अब ये सप्लायर क्या कर रहा है, ही माइट बी अ स्मॉल गाय, उसकी ट्रक होगी, वो क्या कर रहा है, रेसिपिएंट को गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट करके दे रहा है. सो देयर इज एक्चुअली गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट करके दे रहा है, मे बी फ्रॉम द वेयर हाउस टू लेट्स से द फैक्ट्री और फैक्ट्री टू वेयर हाउस एक्सेट्रा. तो गुड्स इधर से उधर ट्रांसपोर्ट हो रहे हैं, राइट. सो फैक्ट्री से मे बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के यहाँ पे भेज रहे हैं, फैक्ट्री से दूसरी फैक्ट्री के यहाँ पे भेज रहे हैं, तो हम लोग हायर करते गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी. ना यू टेल मी, ये जो रेसिपिएंट है ये रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज है, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज है. सो व्हाट वी टेल देम दैट यू पे द अमाउंट टू देम, जो भी तुमने सर्विसेज लिया है, और जीएसटी जो भी इसके ऊपर लग रहा है आप उसको डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट को दे दो. डोंट पे देम विद द जीएसटी, बिकॉज ये सप्लायर छोटा बंदा है. इट इज अ पर्सन हु माइट जस्ट कीप द जीएसटी अमाउंट एंड नॉट डिपॉजिट विद द गवर्नमेंट. तो कितनी बार लोग क्या करते, कलेक्ट कर लेते छोटे लोग जीएसटी, फिर बाद में जाके गवर्नमेंट में डिपॉजिट नहीं करते हैं, तो वो एक ड्रॉबैक हो जाता है, रेवेन्यू लॉस हो जाता है, where they do not follow the GST provisions. In they are small dealers, they don't have manpower, they don't have any computer, they are just a normal person. So in this case we tell ki boss, Reliance Industries is a registered person, they are availing the services, we are telling them only to pay the GST amount directly to the government. Okay, the next we'll see. Now you should try to understand what they are trying to say and why they are trying to say. Let's say an individual advocate, including a senior advocate, provides any services, advocate services, to the business entity. So who are we making liable? So let's say I'm an advocate, I provide my services to a business entity. So I am the supplier and the business entity is the recipient. What government is saying that you just pay me direct value and the GST amount, the business entity, since they have in GST account and everything in place, they will pay the direct amount to the government. So let's understand an example with that also. Okay, so they said a real example we'll take. Now let's say Ram Jethmalani, he was a criminal lawyer, right? He was a criminal lawyer. He provided his lawyering services to Grow More Enterprises. Grow More Enterprises was a business of Harshad Mehta, right? So in this case, who is the supplier of the lawyering services? Ram Jethmalani, he is providing his services. And who is the recipient? It is Harshad Mehta's company, that is the Grow More Enterprises. In this case, after reading RCM table list, tell me one thing, who is liable to pay the GST? So it is Grow More Enterprises. So what will happen here? He will just pay the value. Grow More will pay the value to Ram Jethmalani and the recipient will pay the GST amount to the department directly. This is falling under RCM. So Grow More would be liable to pay GST under the current GST laws. Let's see a next few examples. when we have arbitral tribunal, any business entity, so let's say a arbitrator is there. Now arbitrator is a person which is deciding the disputes for two disputing parties, and he is appointed as the judge by these two parties, and whatever the arbitrator decision he gives will be binding on both the parties. So the parties only make an agreement कि इसने जो बोला वही सही रहेगा, हम लोग ये आउट ऑफ कोर्ट ही सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं, तो वी अपॉइंट अ कॉमन जज arbitrator and he will decide. So let's say generally these are lawyers. So again this lawyer is providing his services of deciding who is right and who is wrong to the business entities. In such cases, the business entity will pay the value to the arbitrators, or the panel of arbitrators is called as a tribunal, where there are 3 arbitrators appointed, 3 judges you could say appointed. So we'll have to pay each one of them. So they are supplying their services and the company is the recipient. You think the business entity should give with the GST? अब उनको देंगे, वो 3 अलग लोग हैं, वो लोग कब आके हमको पे, गवर्नमेंट को पे करेंगे? गवर्नमेंट इसे आप लोग रजिस्टर्ड होना, प्लीज आप लोग डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट को दे दो. Then next we are seeing sponsorship services to any body, corporate or partnership firm. Now sponsorship services could be like a brand ambassador. So let's take an example for this. So if a brand ambassador is providing his sponsorship services where he'll say, I'll sponsor your brand, I'll promote your brand to the company. So who do you think should end up paying to the GST to the government? तो यहाँ पे ये बंदा supplier है and company यहाँ पे recipient है. So we are telling the recipient to go and pay the GST to the government. So let's see here. This is Ranveer Singh. He is the sponsor or the promoter for Adidas. So now you tell me, who is a supplier of services? He is a supplier. He is giving a service to Adidas brand, and Adidas is actually the recipient. So what Adidas will do, they will give him the value, whatever money is there for his services, okay, and he would provide certain sponsorship services, and the GST will be paid by Adidas to the GST department. Are we clear? So Ranveer Singh is sponsoring or is the sponsor or the brand ambassador for Adidas, and Adidas will be held liable to pay GST. So can I say the recipient is liable to go and pay to the government? Yes. So let's see a few more examples. So where the central government is the supplier and the recipient is any business entity. Now let's say there is a AGM going to be held. Okay, there is a annual general meeting of a very big company, and they want certain services from the government, central government, state government. They need a few police to monitor the event. कि उस टाइम पे कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए, इसलिए पुलिस आके रहती है वहां पे बाहर. So don't you think the business entity has to pay? So the supply of services could be by the government and the business entity could be the recipient. So who will go and pay the GST? It is the recipient that has to go and pay. Second, let's take another example. If Yash Raj film, okay, Yash Raj Films want to do a shooting on a government property, on an ancient monument they want to do, so don't you think they have to pay to the government? Yes. So अगर कुछ रेंट कर रहे हैं कोई premises, कुछ government premises, उनको they want to hire and make a shooting there. So in this case recipient जो होगा, they will pay the value without the GST, और GST business entity को भरना है to the government directly, to the GST department directly. समझ में आई है? तो जब भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट या गवर्नमेंट कोई सर्विसेज दे रही है बिजनेस एंटिटी को, बिजनेस एंटिटी की ही जिम्मेदारी है टू गो एंड पे द जीएसटी डायरेक्टली टू द जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट. नेक्स्ट, वी आर सेइंग अ डायरेक्टर ऑफ अ कंपनी is providing his services to the company. Now, if a director is not appointed as an employee, अब employee होंगे तो obviously GST apply ही नहीं होगा, because GST doesn't apply to employer-employee relationship, because that comes under Income Tax Act. But if a director is providing not as an employee but as a mere advisory, तब क्या आएगा? तब जीएसटी आएगा. सो लेट्स से इफ आई एम, तो डायरेक्टर्स के भी काफ़ी सब टाइप्स होते हैं. एक होता है एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर हु आर होल टाइम डायरेक्टर्स ऑफ द कंपनी, और एक होता है नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर्स हु आर नॉट इन होल टाइम. दे मे बी कॉल्ड whenever the important policy decisions are being formed. A director can be called whenever any major changes or inputs are needed. That time we can call them for their outside knowledge. So in that case, he is not an employee. He is providing his professional services to the company. So the company will obviously pay him his sitting fees. Sitting fees pay कर सकते हो उसको. But this would not include the GST. The GST the company will have to pay to the government. So let's take an example of that also. Let's say I am the director, okay, on part-time basis. So director provides his services to the company not as an employee. So he's not an employee. He could be a consultant. He could be a independent director. The company is liable to pay the GST to the government, right? Next, if we see, now all these agents are there. Insurance agent is providing his services to the insurance company. So there are so many insurance agents who are there. They come and they try to sell you for certain policies, maybe health policies, life policy, car policies, कि आप ये policy ले लो. So the agent is actually providing his services to the insurance company, maybe LIC Limited. So they are not hired as a whole time employee. They are just hired on प्रोफेशनल बेसिस कि आप जितना सेल्स करा के दोगे आपको उसका परसेंटेज मिलेगा. दे आर नॉट होल टाइम एम्प्लॉयज. अगर एम्प्लॉई होगा तो दिस जीएसटी विल नॉट अप्लाई, इनकम टैक्स एक्ट विल अप्लाई. बट समटाइम्स यू हायर दीज फ्रीलांसर्स टू सेल योर पॉलिसीज. तो ये जो फ्रीलांसर्स सर्विसेज में आ जाएंगे, प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज दे रहे हैं वो लोग. सो द कंपनी जो रहेगी उनके प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज जो है उसका पैसा दे देंगे, बट जीएसटी अमाउंट इनको नहीं देंगे. ऐसा नहीं कि सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विसेज को दे देंगे एंड देन द सप्लायर विल कम एंड पे टू द गवर्नमेंट. दे विल हैव टू कम एंड पे द जीएसटी डायरेक्टली टू द डिपार्टमेंट. नेक्स्ट, इफ आई सी एनी ऑथर, सिंगर, म्यूजिक कंपोजर, ही इज प्रोवाइडिंग हिज सर्विसेज टू द पब्लिक. सो ऑथर इज प्रोवाइडिंग द सर्विसेज टू द पब्लिशर. The music composer is providing the services to the music company. A photographer or the artist is providing to his producer. Now, what do you mean by this? Let's understand. Now, this is an example of MTV Coke Studio. ठीक है? Now they call in अरिजीत सिंह कि यार एक दिन कॉन्सर्ट है, आप आके गाइए. तो यहाँ पे अरिजीत सिंह इज द सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विसेज, राइट? सो ही इज द सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विसेज एंड रेसिपिएंट कौन है यहाँ पे? MTV कोक स्टूडियो. तो वो लोग बुला रहे हैं और उसको बोल रहे हैं आप हम यहाँ पे सिंगिंग का सर्विसेज दीजिए. इन दिस केस द रेसिपिएंट हु इज गेटिंग द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द सिंगिंग विल हैव टू पे मनी टू हिम. Yes. Should they pay along with the GST and expect Arijit Singh to go and pay to the government department? They say, no, it doesn't make sense where we tell these artists to go and pay GST and put them under GST liability. We tell MTV Coke Studio, आपका तो legal department होगा, compliance department होगा, आप GST directly डिपार्टमेंट में पे कर दीजिए। आप उनको बिना जीएसटी के पैसे दे दो, जो वैल्यू है उनका पैसे दे दो, और जो गवर्नमेंट का बनता है आप डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट को दे दो। सो अरिजीत सिंह इज अ सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विसेज, sings for MTV Coke Studio, that is the recipient. MTV Coke Studio will be liable to pay the GST to the government department. Okay, so like this, if you start applying your mind, you will start understanding it much better. How does RCM work? Let's take a few more examples. Individual direct selling agents, they are providing the services to the banking company. Direct selling agents क्या होते हैं? क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लो आप, तो ऐसे सेलिंग एजेंट्स होते हैं, ट्राई टू सेल सर्टेन प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ द बैंक, सो दे आर द सप्लायर्स एंड द बैंक इज द रेसिपिएंट। तो रेसिपिएंट को बोल रहे हैं कि आप जीएसटी इसके रिलेटेड जो भी बनता है आप डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट को देना। दूसरा रिकवरी एजेंट एंड अ बैंकिंग कंपनी। अब रिकवरी एजेंट क्या होता है? तुम याद रखना कि जब भी लोन लेने जाओगे तुम, तब तुमको लोन के लिए जो पिच कर रहा है ना, वो बहुत ही पतला दुबला अच्छा स्माइली फेस वाला बंदा आएगा। बट जब तुम डिफॉल्ट कर दोगे ना लोन के ऊपर, ईएमआईज के ऊपर, तब तुमको लगता है वही सेम बंदा रिकवरी के लिए आएगा। नहीं, बैंक्स ऐसे बंदों को हायर करते हैं, कॉल्ड एज रिकवरी एजेंट्स। सो देन दे गो एंड टेल यू दैट योर मनी इज पेंडिंग, आपका इतना ईएमआई बाउंस हो गया है, आपको पे करना है। सो लेट्स से HSBC बैंक हायर्स द सर्विसेज ऑफ अ रिकवरी एजेंट. So recovery agent is the supplier of services and the HSBC bank is the recipient. गवर्नमेंट क्या बोल रही है कि भाई ये रिकवरी एजेंट को आप जीएसटी के साथ मत देना, हम भी रिकवर नहीं कर पाएंगे उसके बाद से जीएसटी। HSBC बैंक को बोला कि इसको आप उसका जो वैल्यू है दे देना उसको पैसे, और जो जीएसटी है आप उसको आप जीएसटी गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में डायरेक्टली दे देना। सो हु इज लायबल? सो द recipient or HSBC bank is liable to pay the GST to the government department. Next, if we see a few more examples, again a business facilitator providing the services to a banking company. Now, what is a business facilitator? Business facilitator are actually those who are called as BDs, business development. So they are these people who come in and try to tell you how you can increase your business, what changes you need in your business, what structural changes you need. So again, they are the suppliers of service, their intellectual work कि आप ये structuring करो आपको फायदा होगा। And recipient कौन है यहाँ पे? Banking company. Now, so therefore the banking company has to pay the GST directly. Now let's say FSI, services with respect to transfer of TDR, and the promoter who is the recipient will have to pay the GST. समझते हैं। Let's say FSI होता क्या है? Floor Space Index. Let's in layman's term let's understand FSI अगर 3 है मतलब क्या? इसका मतलब है अगर मैं एक माले की बिल्डिंग तोड़ दूँ, तो गवर्नमेंट मेरे को 3 माले और बनाने देगा। सो लेट्स से यहाँ पे आई कैन स्टार्ट मेकिंग अ 4-story बिल्डिंग। तो 3 का FSI है, सो 4, 3, 2, 1, तो यहाँ पे आई कैन से FSI इज 3। ओके, तो एक का तोड़ूंगा तो 3 बना सकता हूँ एक्स्ट्रा, तो ये जो भी रहेगा वो FSI है। नाउ समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस, अगर मैं 4 माले की बिल्डिंग लूंगा, ओके, सो कैन यू टेल मी मैं कितने माले बना सकता हूँ? 4 माले की बिल्डिंग में ले रहा हूँ, तो वहाँ पे FSI 3 है, तो आई कैन से मैं 12 और एक जो ऑलरेडी था, तो मैं 13 फ्लोर्स बना सकता हूँ। बट मैं बोल रहा हूँ मैं कहाँ 13 बनाऊंगा, मेरे को सिर्फ 10 स्टोरीज ही बनाए मैं। जो 3 का फ्लोर स्पेस इंडेक्स था मेरे पास, 3 का FSI एक्स्ट्रा है, मे बी so many square feet extra I could have made. Those development rights I want to transfer it to another person. So let's say लोदास है, लोदास के पास में FSI पड़ा हुआ है। These are FSI is giving you so much development rights. These development rights I want to give it to let's say Rustam ji. Okay, so they can transfer the development rights to Rustam ji. Now here we can say this is the supplier and Rustomjee is the recipient of these development rights. It's considered to be a service. In such case, Rustomjee will have to pay the GST to the गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट और जो भी TDR का पैसा है वो उधर दे देंगे. सो जो प्रमोटर है, जो बनाने वाला है, ये एक्स्ट्रा जो उसको राइट्स मिल रहे, लेट्स से 3 फ्लोर्स एक्स्ट्रा बनाने का राइट्स दे दिया, तो रुस्तमजी इज द रेसिपिएंट, ही ओनली हैज टू पे दिस GST टू द गवर्नमेंट. सो कैन आई से दैट द प्रमोटर और द बिल्डर हु इज बाइंग द डेवलपमेंट राइट्स is liable to pay the GST to the government. So he is the recipient, he is paying the money and buying these development rights. He has to pay the GST on it directly to the government. Let's say long term lease कोई ले रहा है, तो there could be long term lease पे होता है लैंड, तो एक पार्टी होगी जिसका नाम होगा लेसर और एक पार्टी होगी जो लीज पे ले रही है, लेसी. सो ये हो गया सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विसेज. वी सी इन प्रॉपर्टी रिलेटेड हम लोग रेंट पे दे सकते हैं, तो लीज इज रेंट. तो यहाँ पे लॉन्ग टर्म लीज में किसकी लायबिलिटी कर रहे हैं हम लोग? लेसर की लेसी की. लेसी इज द रेसिपिएंट. वी आर टेलिंग द लेसी कि आप जाके GST गवर्नमेंट को पे कर देना. ओके, सो दीज आर समवेयर द मेन रिवर्स चार्ज mechanisms for services given as well. There are few more also. You can go through the list entirely which I have given in the book as well. Now we'll be seeing your provisions with respect to e-commerce operators. Now e-commerce operators could either be dealing in goods or e-commerce operators could be dealing in services. Can you name me a few e-commerce operators which deal primarily in goods? Now very simple, your Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, etc. fall in this category. Amazon, Flipkart, okay, they fall in these category where goods are supplied through this. Can you tell me certain e-commerce operators where services are provided from the e-commerce operators? Have you availed any services from an e-commerce portal, online portal where you ask for certain services? So maybe your Ola, Uber, where you choose services from the app. Now let's say another example is of Urban Clap. It's a e-commerce operators which provide certain services. Your policybazaar.com, your Make My Trip. Okay, you have your Ease My Trip, certain online booking portals where you book your flight tickets. Then maybe your Trivago, where you can book online hotels. You get a list of hotels and you can easily choose from them. Tribo, your Oyo rooms, right? So these are e-commerce operators that provide you services. Now section 9 subsection 5 only covers e-commerce operators where services are supplied. So only this. For e-commerce suppliers of goods, there is a separate section which we will be dealing later on. Right now we are just concerned with those e-commerce operators that supply certain services through that their portal. Now we'll see section 9 subsection 5 in detail. So what it is saying, that e-commerce operators shall be liable to pay the tax in case of certain notified services. So there would be a notification issued, and whichever services the notification covers, on that the e-commerce operator will be held liable to pay the GST. Let's understand that with the help of an example. For that you need to also understand the business model and how it works. So let's take an example of an e-commerce operator such as Uber, Ola, Uber. Okay, now Ola, Uber are e-commerce operators. What do you mean by e-commerce operator? Is an operator, that is, it manages a online portal which sells digital products, okay, or sells goods and services digitally. So we know whenever we want to book a cab, we go to the Uber app. So they are maintaining, operating that e-commerce platform. So we go to the Uber app and let's say we are the customers or the recipient of services, right? And is Uber supplying the goods? Or sorry, the services? Are they giving you the rights? Answer is no. Uber is an aggregator. So they aggregate the local suppliers who are the taxi drivers in the vicinity and then will connect you to it. So let's say there could be a supplier altogether who is a different person. So the supplier is actually the driver, or I could say the cab owner who is there. Okay. So this could be an independent party. If you know how Uber works, it just connects you. So the driver will be an independent party. He might own the car. Uber doesn't own even one car. Uber is merely a software, an app which connects you. That's it. It doesn't even own one car. Just like Facebook doesn't even have one article of its own, doesn't even have its own content. Facebook content is created by someone else. Same way, the supplier is someone else, the recipient is someone else, the Uber is just a connector. Okay, so here we can say this is managing a e-commerce operator. So from the line, can you tell me who will be held liable? Here the recipient will pay, let's say 18 rupees will pay the amount with GST. Let's say the GST is 18 rupees. It will pay to the Uber. Now, who do you think should be made liable to pay to the government department? Should we give it to the supplier? Should Uber pay this 18 also? So they are saying no. Here it will be deemed supplier. So here Uber will be considered to be the deemed supplier is Uber, and Uber will have to collect the GST amount 18 because all the payments are made through the GST app, through the Uber app, and 18 rupees GST the Uber company will be held liable to pay the GST amount. So let's read the provision. So can you tell me, is Uber held liable to pay the GST, or the driver or the real supplier who is providing the transport facility? It is the e-commerce operator who is liable to pay the GST. So let's read. The government may, on recommendation of the council by notification, certain specific categories of services where the GST shall be paid by the e-commerce operator. So the GST will be paid, that is, it will be collected by Uber and also liable to be paid by Uber to the government department as if the e-commerce operator is the supplier of services, right? Now, Uber might say that I am a US based company, I don't even have my presence in India. Possible, Uber might say कि यार मैं तो यूएस की कंपनी हूँ, मैं तो यहाँ पे खाली सॉफ्टवेयर अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ, मेरा तो कोई प्रेजेंस भी नहीं है. तो उसके लिए नेक्स्ट पॉइंट है, provided where an e-commerce operator does not have physical presence. Uber doesn't need a physical presence, online. So then they say what to do. It doesn't have a physical presence only. So then we say you must be acting through someone in India. You must be having some link, some agent, some office. That office will be deemed to be liable. That person representing the e-commerce operator in India will be held liable. So any person representing such e-commerce operators in the taxable territory shall be liable to pay the tax. तो या तो Uber पे करेगा, बट अगर Uber बोल रहा है मेरा कोई भी फिजिकल प्रेजेंस नहीं है, तो देन वील से आपका एजेंट भरेगा. Uber says मेरा तो एजेंट भी नहीं है. तो देन वी लाइक इसका तो खुद भी नहीं है, एजेंट भी नहीं है, तो करे क्या? तो बोले एक काम करो, एजेंट क्रिएट करो, मेक अ एजेंट एंड मेक हिम पे. सो एनी e-commerce operators coming in the notified categories, if they want to operate in India, they have to create their agent. See, provided further where a e-commerce operator does not have a physical presence and also does not have a representative in that territory. So government will say, boss, such e-commerce operator shall appoint a person in the taxable territory for the purpose of paying tax, and that person shall be liable to pay the tax. Simple. So the e-commerce operator is liable, but if the e-commerce operator is not doesn't have physical presence, agent is held liable. But if he doesn't have both, then the creator agent and that agent will be held liable. Okay. Now I told you it is in respect of certain notified services. So which services are notified till date? There are 3 services which have been notified under section 9 subsection 5. So the notification number, you can mark it down. It is your notification number 17/2017. Okay, it says that the tax shall be paid by the e-commerce operator for the following 3 categories. Okay, so 3 of them have been given, 1, 2 and 3. Let's see the first one. The first one is Ola and Uber. Services by way of transportation of passengers by radio taxi. Radio taxis are those taxis which have a GPS inbuilt, like Uber and Ola. Motor cab, maxi cab and motorcycle. Now you even have Uber on motorcycle. So all of them, if there's an e-commerce operator helping you locate all these cabs, who's held liable? E-commerce operator. So there was a news article also published where they said now the drivers are stress free, क्योंकि उनको कोई रजिस्ट्रेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, उनको कुछ टेंशन जीएसटी में कुछ पेमेंट करने का टेंशन नहीं है. किसकी जिम्मेदारी है? ऐप की, द ऑपरेटर की, e-commerce operator की, not of the driver. So let's see. Ola and Uber drivers are not liable to pay GST now. The government rules the notification. Now what is the notification? The government, via its notification 17/2017, states that the GST on services by way of transportation of passengers shall be paid by the operator itself and not by the drivers, because drivers are the real suppliers, but we will deem that the app is the supplier and it has to pay the GST. तो जब भी हम लोग ऐप के थ्रू पे करते हैं विद द GST, ऑपरेटर खुद GST पे कर देता है टू द गवर्नमेंट. ड्यू टू दिस डिसीजन द ड्राइवर शैल नॉट बी रिक्वायर्ड टू बी रजिस्टर्ड अंडर GST, and further they will not even have to bother about the GST compliances. सबकी जिम्मेदारी किसकी? E-commerce operator की. This gives a huge relief to a number of taxi drivers who were worried about the GST impact on them. Here Ola and Uber will be the deemed service providers. Notification number 17/2017. Let's go to the other 2 services. So the first one was Ola Uber. Okay, let's see the next one. The next one says services by way of accommodation in hotels, guest house, clubs, campsites, etc., meant for residential purpose or lodging purpose, that is staying purpose, except the person supplying such services through e-commerce operators is liable for registration under section 22 subsection 1. Firstly, सर्विसेज बाय वे ऑफ प्रोवाइडिंग अकोमोडेशन इन होटल्स. तो कोई ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर पता है तुम्हें जो तुम्हें हेल्प करता है इन फाइंडिंग अकोमोडेशन? आप इधर जा सकते हो, उधर जा सकते हो, इधर. हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ ओयो? सो ओयो ऑल्सो इज एन ऐप. That app provides you accommodation for residential or lodging purposes, right? Except when the person supplying through the e-commerce operator, matlab the person supplying through the e-commerce, the real supplier is liable for registration under section 22. मतलब क्या, अगर वो सप्लायर थोड़ा बड़ा सप्लायर है जिस, और रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए क्या लिमिट है, सोचो वहां पे रजिस्ट्रेशन के अंदर लिमिट दिया है 20 lakhs और मोर का उसका सेल्स हो रहा है, टर्नओवर. सो देन ही बिकम्स liable for registration under GST. Means if the real supplier is making a good amount of business where he gets 20 lakhs or more, then we tell you're a big supplier, you can pay the GST. The e-commerce operator will not be held liable. The real supplier will be held liable in this case. Let's take, so we can reduce or understand from here कि अप टू 20 lakhs हो रहा है तो देन द ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर इज लायबल. बट अगर 20 lakhs के ऊपर जा रहा है, क्योंकि सेक्शन 22 में लिमिट दिया हुआ है कि अगर कोई भी बंदा 20 lakhs के ऊपर का टर्नओवर कर रहा है, सेल्स कर रहा है, तो देन ही इज लायबल अंडर जीएसटी टू पे. सो इफ अ डीलर इज सप्लाइंग थ्रू अ ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर एंड ही क्रॉसेस 20 lakhs, नाउ दिस exception is only given for second point also, and this is also given for the third point. तो मतलब ये दोनों केसेस में अगर रियल सप्लायर 20 लाख के ऊपर का सेल्स कर रहा है तो लॉ सेज देन द रियल सप्लायर विल बी हेल्ड लायबल टू पे जीएसटी एंड नॉट द ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर्स. सो दोनों ही पॉइंट में हम लोग ये समझ सकते हैं, अगर सप्लायर छोटा है, उसने 20 लाख तक पूरे सेल्स नहीं किए हैं, ओके, इन द एंटायर ईयर, तो लॉ इज सेइंग ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर को बोलो जीएसटी कलेक्ट करके पे करने को. बट अगर 20 लाख के ऊपर चला गया तो बोलेंगे सप्लायर बड़ा बंदा है, उसको जीएसटी अमाउंट दे दो, वो आके गवर्नमेंट को पे करेगा. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस अकोमोडेशन वाला पॉइंट with the help of an example where now you will understand properly. First one was transportation of passengers. Second one is accommodation in hotels. So for this we'll see an example. Okay. Now have you heard of the term business Trivago? Trivago क्या करता है? It is just a different hotels का prices aggregate करता है और present करता है to the people और द कस्टमर्स, और कस्टमर्स फिर डिसाइड कर सकते हैं उनको कौन सा चूज करना है. आई थिंक अगोडा करके दूसरा ऐप है, अगर तुम ट्रैवल करते हो अलग अलग, अगोडा इज अ वेरी गुड ऐप. आई हैव ऑल्सो पर्सनली यूज्ड इट. अगोडा इज अ ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर. इट हेल्प्स यू विद द प्राइसेस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई वॉन्ट टू गो एंड स्टे इन एम्बी वैली पुणे. सो इन दैट केस आई जस्ट पुट एम्बी वैली एंड इट विल एग्रीगेट all the places and it will tell you that this make my trip पे ये रेट चल रहा है, इस पे ये रेट चल रहा है, इस पे ये रेट चल रहा है, and I can then choose it. Okay, so it provides you a comparison chart from the lowest price to the highest price. Now let's say Trivago को we are saying it is a e-commerce operator for सर्विसेज प्रोवाइडिंग अकोमोडेशन सर्विसेज. अब इसका प्रोविजन समझते हैं. अब कि ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर पे मैं जा रहा हूं और मैं बोल रहा हूं कि मैं होटल राज के अंदर रजिस्ट्रेशन किया. आई मेड अ बुकिंग फॉर होटल राज एंड राज इज अ अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, नॉट लायबल फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन. मतलब उनका 20 लाख तक सेल्स नहीं होता है. और दूसरा है होटल ताजमहल पैलेस. ना होटल ताजमहल पैलेस इज अ रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. उनका दे आर लायबल टू बी रजिस्टर्ड बिकॉज उनका 20 लाख के ऊपर सेल जाता है. सो ट्रिवागो में से सोचो मैं 2 होटल्स हैं, एक है होटल ताज और दूसरा है होटल राज. एक कस्टमर जाके होटल ताज में बुकिंग कर रहा है. ओके, ट्रिवागो की साइट पे गया, ट्रिवागो की साइट पे उसने होटल ताज देखा और वहाँ पे बुकिंग किया एंड ही पेड लेट्स से 30,000 फॉर द वैल्यू एंड ऑल्सो पेड GST ऑफ 10,000. ओके, तो 40,000 ट्रिवागो के पेमेंट गेटवे से पेमेंट कर दिया. नाउ यू टेल मी, इन होटल ताज who is liable to go and pay GST to the government, e-commerce operator or the real supplier? So since he is liable to be registered and is a registered person, hotel Taj mein we will say it is the hotel Taj is liable to pay under law. So we can say that hotel Taj will be liable to pay the GST amount. Okay, in the second case if I go hotel Taj, अगर मैं hotel Taj में बुकिंग कर रहा हूँ तो उसका तो 20 लाख का नहीं, वहाँ इज नॉट लाइबल टू बी रजिस्टर्ड, तो इट्स अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. तो जैसे ये 10,000 पे किया मैंने, इन दिस केस ट्रिवागो विल बी लाइबल टू डिपॉजिट द 10,000 टू द गवर्नमेंट. क्या लॉजिक था? इफ आई मेक अ बुकिंग, तो बुकिंग देखना पड़ेगा किसकी हो रही है, कौन सा सप्लायर कौन है. अगर सप्लायर एक रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है तो बोलेंगे सप्लायर विल बी हेल्ड लायबल. बट अगर सप्लायर एक अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है तो देन वी विल से कि बॉस ट्रिवागो ही जाके भर देना चाहिए एंड ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर शुड ओनली गो एंड पे. लेट्स टेक अनदर द थर्ड केस. The third case is talking about services by way of housekeeping such as plumbing, carpenter, etc. Except where the person supplying, that is the real supplier, is liable for registration under section 22 subsection 1. तो what is this housekeeping services कभी अवेल किया तुमने? Plumbing through an app, e-commerce operator app. So can you give me a few examples where you can go a online booking through an app and get it? What is the name? So it is Urban Clap. तो let's say मैं Urban Clap पे गया. Urban Clap has its own payment gateway. I make the payment. Okay, and I am making certain plumbing services. Mr. Pinto के पास है. Now Mr. Pinto बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ rich नहीं है. He has made a sales of less than 20 lakh. So he's an unregistered dealer, right? In this case, अगर मैं कस्टमर हूँ, वहाँ मैंने जाके मिस्टर अर्बन क्लैप की साइट पे गया, बुकिंग किया और ये प्लम्बर के लिए मैंने बुकिंग किया और ये प्लम्बर का टर्नओवर नहीं है कुछ भी और रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन भी नहीं है. तो हु इज लायबल टू पे द GST टू द गवर्नमेंट? So in that case, Urban Clap will be liable to pay the GST to the government, right? Why? Because in this case, we know that Urban Clap has collected the money. No use transferring that money to an unregistered person. So the government is saying कि आप deemed supplier हो ऐसे केस में और आप जाके गवर्नमेंट को GST डिपार्टमेंट को आप जाके GST दे देना. ओके, इन केस ऑफ मिस्टर पिंटो. नाउ लेट्स से देयर इज अनदर अर्बन क्लैप पे जाता हूँ एंड आई कैन इवन टेक मेकअप आर्टिस्ट. ओके, नाउ लेट्स से आई गो फॉर अ मेकअप सेलिब्रिटी मेकअप आर्टिस्ट. नाउ सेलिब्रिटी मेकअप आर्टिस्ट, वन ऑफ अ वेरी फेमस वन इज प्रिया. So let's say मैं प्रिया मेकअप आर्टिस्ट के पास में जाता हूँ एंड नाउ डेज मेकअप आर्टिस्ट मेक इट्स अ वेरी lucrative profession you could say now, and people are really making really good amount in this field as well. So let's say Urban Clap पे गया and I choose a celebrity makeup artist and I make a payment. I say कि यार bridal makeup कराना है, उसके लिए मैं 30,000 पे कर रहा हूँ वैल्यू एंड उसके साथ में GST है 10,000 रुपये. तो 40,000 का मैं ब्राइडल में नहीं, मतलब कस्टमर जाके ब्राइडल मेकअप करा रहा है. अब ऐसे केस में ओके, ऐसे केस में व्हाट गवर्नमेंट इज सेइंग कि ये एक रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है, शी ऑलरेडी क्रॉस्ड 20 lakh rupees in a year, so in that case we will say that Miss Priya will be held liable to pay the GST. समझ में आया? तो देखना पड़ेगा अर्बन क्लैप को, ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर को, कि जो सप्लायर है वो रजिस्टर्ड है कि अनरजिस्टर्ड है. अगर रजिस्टर्ड है तो then we will say he is a fit guy, the person can pay the GST on its own. Then it will be Miss Priya which will be liable to pay the GST, and she will only be called as the supplier, right? Only in case of unregistered person, when the person is not liable to pay GST at all, then urban clap will जो भी GST कलेक्ट किया है, तो ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर्स को GST कलेक्ट करना ही है, फिर उनको देखना है खुद भरना है कि वो बड़ी वाली पार्टी से भरवाना है, सप्लायर से. समझ में आता है? ओनली दीज 3 केसेस आर कवर्ड अंडर योर सेक्शन 9 subsection 5. But the interesting thing is the exception where the turnover limit is exceeded, then e-commerce operator is not liable, is given only in 2nd and 3rd. In case of transportation of passengers, always it will be urban, it will be Uber and Ola that who will have to pay the GST, right? So that is it. We section 9 subsection 5. So now if we take a small recap, section 9 has how many subsections? You need to tell me. It has 5 subsections. Now I will just randomly ask and you need to tell me the provision. What is section 9 subsection 5 related to? So it is related to GST on e-commerce operators with respect to certain notified services. How many services have been notified? So 3 services have been notified till date. In such cases, who is held liable generally to pay the tax? So it is the e-commerce operators who are liable to pay the tax. Now what is 9 subsection 2? So 9 subsection 2 talks about petroleum products. The GST will be held on petroleum products from the date it is notified. Can you tell me what is 9 subsection 1? So 9 subsection 1 talks about GST on intrastate supplies. So whenever supply is made of goods and services within the state, CGST will be held liable. Can you tell me what is 9 subsection 4? Now both of them talk about RCM. So whether it be subsection 3 or subsection 4, they talk about reverse charge mechanism. In reverse charge mechanism, who is liable to pay GST? So it is the recipient who is liable to pay GST. Recipient is liable to pay GST. Now tell me what is 9 subsection 4? 9 subsection 4 talks that when an unregistered person provides services, goods and services to a registered person. So when an unregistered person is providing supplies to a registered person, तो ये अपना हो गया supplier और ये हो गया recipient. So who is liable to pay the GST to the government? Who has all the systems in place? Who is already registered? So it is the registered person, that is the recipient, who will be liable to pay the GST. What is 9 subsection 3? It says RCM on certain notified supplies. Notification has been given with respect to goods and has been given with respect to services as well. Goods के related कौन से थे? Mostly when the supplier is an agriculturist and the recipient is a registered person. So we tell the recipient should go and pay the tax. Even in cases of services, they have given you certain notified services where an advocate is providing to the company or a arbitrator is providing to the company, agent is providing to the company. Okay, independent director is providing to the company. So wherever the registered person is there, we will tell the registered person to go and pay the tax to the government. And that is it. We are done with section 9 completely.